After the greatest SummerSlam of all time, could Raw deliver one of the greatest episodes of all time? It had all the ingredients, but I think it hit the ground soft. It flopped, didn't it?
It flopped. We're in New York City, New York. It's named twice. Why? I do not know. Is it because everyone in New York's stupid? You need to spell it out for you twice.
Because it's a state and the city's also called New York City.
Well, there you go. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of pro wrestling. That is where great things happen in wrestling. Unfortunately, though, I don't think that many great things happen tonight. A bit of a lackluster show, especially coming off that SummerSlam event. Now, I think we've maybe noticed that maybe the Raw is coming after and SmackDown's coming out of these events. Maybe they do feel like kind of a little bit let down because you're coming off the big pay-per-view that is co-branded and you're getting all the stars, and then you come back to Raw on a Monday night and you've only got half the roster there. I mean, could that be...
It could be, but Raw's been good without having all the roster together. And SmackDown hasn't, so I'd accept that in normal circumstances, but Raw's been hitting it at the park for the past few months.
Fair enough. Let's look at the dark matches. Shelton Benjamin beat Sean Stasiak. Goldust beat Johnny the Bull Stamboli. Steven Richards beat Crash Holly. Bradshaw beat Just Incredible. And D'Lo Brown beat Raven. So Raven got removed, I thought, from WWE a while ago. Obviously, he was in that match with Tommy Dreamer. Loser leaves Raw. And he's still in the company. And I just don't know why. I don't know why Raven is wrestling on Heat. Surely this guy is too good to be on the Heat or the Dark show. I think Raven has got more than enough talent to be at least a mid-card or upper mid-carder on either Raw or SmackDown. I think it's a waste of Raven's talents to have him wrestling Heat.
No, it is like... Raven's better than Dreamer. I'm sorry. I like Dreamer.
Well, I like Dreamer too.
Raven's far more marketable.
I think Raven, I'm not going to say I think he's a world title guy, but I think he should be intercontinental level.
Especially with the gimmick. He's not just hardcore, you know, he's got that gothic gimmick. Now, I wasn't a fan of the bin bags, right? Maybe leave that.
Great talker as well, and I think he's decent enough in the ring. He's not saying he's the greatest wrestler ever, but he's
close to
solid.
Raven, nevermore.
What about me? What about Raven? So yeah, I look at WWE, I think if I could change one thing, it would actually be the push that Raven got, because he didn't really get one. And I think he should have.
I think from his debut up to Maniac 7, it was pretty good. But yeah, apart from that, not really much. I mean, also, the leg getting broken Austin Barton, it was funny, but I can't really say much else about Raven's run.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the show then. We kick off with Eric Bischoff. He welcomes everyone to Eric's Monday Night Raw. He promises us a historic night. He says he'll unify the IC and Hardcore titles. He also says he'll honour a WWE Hall of Famer. And then he introduces the new Undisputed Champion, Brock Lesnar. So, historic night, that's a bit of a claim considering what actually happened. Did anything historic really happen tonight? I'm not too sure. We did unify the IC and Hardcore titles. Why? I don't know. I think the Hardcore title has been... It's different on Raw. I know it's basically a bunch of lower mid-carders fighting for it, but I like the Hardcore title.
You can't go wrong with Hardcore matches.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do this. I don't see what was wrong with the Hardcore belt. Now, the only thing I could maybe suggest, and I don't think this is the reason why they've done this, but could you argue that they wanted to get the same amount of titles on Raw and SmackDown, and they knew they were going to add a US title soon on SmackDown, and they just thought, well, we want 4 titles in each show, and we don't want Raw to fight. That's the only thing I can think of.
I mean, it could be that, but I would have rather the Hardcore title then move to SmackDown instead of the US. I think there's a need for the Hardcore title. I'm not a fan of what they've done here. I mean, and also unifying them. It's not like during the Invasion where you're unifying like cruiserweights or tag teams or like the United States and the IC. I mean, the Hardcore title and the IC, how did they unify?
I can accept the IC and the European, but I think there's a need. Well, not a need, but I think there's definitely a market for the Hardcore title, and I think this is a mistake.
Yep.
I wouldn't have done it.
I think it's just trying to push this era versus
but I think you can see they definitely want to get rid of the Hardcore title, because it was only last week they took away the 24/7 angle, the gimmick.
And the belt's gone as we know it. It is Tommy Dreamer coming out with a car's number plate as the belt.
Yeah, so that was strange. Anyway, Bischoff comes out, the commentary team put over the fact that Bischoff left Raw about a month ago, and that Bischoff and Brock Lesnar seemed to have came to a truce, so to speak, and we'll talk more about that later on the night. But I like the fact that the commentary team consistently brought that up, because we would see later on tonight that actually it played into that. So Heyman comes out with Brock Lesnar. Brock's wearing the new WWE Championship belt that he beat The Rock for at SummerSlam.
There is no more Rock. Rock is gone, folks. He does cut a promo after SummerSlam. I think they could have saved that for tonight.
Yeah, Paul talks about Sam Martino, Billy Graham, Hulk Hogan. He says none of those guys combined equal Brock Lesnar. Paul says that he told everybody Brock would be the new champ. Brock then says he's the youngest WWE champion ever. Says nobody can beat him, apart from maybe this man. Shawn Michaels' music starts playing. The Heartbreak Kid's here, but it's not. It's Triple H.
King and JR aren't buying it, though. They're like, there's no way he's here. He got crippled last night.
So Triple H comes out dressed as Shawn Michaels. He does his wee Shawn Michaels pose on the top of the ramp and says that's the last time we'll ever hear that crap again. Triple H says that Shawn didn't even belong in the same ring as him, and that Shawn will never be in the ring again, and that Shawn will never be able to walk again. Then turns his attention to Brock, tells Brock that Brock wouldn't be champion if it wasn't for him softening up The Rock, and Triple H says that Brock owes him, and that he asks if Brock is man enough to play the game. So I like Triple H here standing up to Brock Lesnar, not being a coward about it. He wants to fight Brock tonight.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen Triple H against Brock back in this era. It's a shame we didn't get it till like 11 years later, 10 years later.
That's the thing. I mean, back here, Brock's like the next big thing, but no one's really afraid of him. Whereas when you look at when he came back, like nobody really, apart from Cena or Taker, really, or Reigns, like, was willing to challenge him. They're all like shitebags.
He was snapping Michaels and Triple H's arms like wee twigs.
Undertaker comes out and says he should be the first to get crack at the young blood, and he calls himself the #1 contender. Undertaker asks Brock if he is the next big thing or the next big bitch. I don't know why Undertaker thinks he's the #1 contender.
He beat Test.
Yeah, but that was not a #1 contender.
Let's bear in mind here, he's been on the receiving end of a few L's recently. He lost the 4-on-4, then he was a part of the 3-on-3. Yeah, you beat Test, but in the past month, Taker's more losses than wins.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not really a #1 contender material, but I did like the next big bitch, next big thing comment. We then get Brock and Triple H attacking Taker. Taker fights back 2-on-1. Taker comes out with upper hand. Triple H gets back into the ring. He stares down Taker. Then he's like, nah, screw this. I'm going to leave. So, yeah, Jim Ross then asks who the #1 contender is.
A great opening segment between these three. I mean, these three brawling, it would be hard for it not to be good. In my personal opinion. I think so.
Yes.
Yes. But it is. Tell you what's not so good. Booker T against Christian. I say not so good. I just wasn't feeling this. I feel like this feud needs to move on. Booker T and Goldust. I think they need to go back to the comedy stuff. They haven't really done that in a while. It just seems more that they're getting battered by the un-Americans week in, week out, doesn't it?
Yeah, at the moment they're kind of flying the flag for America and not Goldust flying his weirdo flag.
Yeah. I know that's funny though. See if Goldust was doing this now, I could buy it, but back in 2002, being a proud American, doing all the shit he does.
Damn. Then we got a campaign, SmackDown Your Vote, and there was clips of Kurt Angle, Edge, and The Rock at some rally.
Yeah, we've got the governor, Pataki or whatever, he's like, here, just because The Rock said it doesn't mean anything, it's all about the fans of the WWE, damn it. What a weird thing to fucking say. Burying The Rock. It's like, doesn't matter about The Rock. It's all about you guys.
We then go backstage with un-Americans. Christian's complaining about his loss to Booker T. Test arrives and tells Christian to calm down. It's only one match and that he's got something big planned for tonight. Then another tag team match, we've got Bubba and Spike versus William Regal and Christopher Nowinski. I mean, Christopher Nowinski, I'm not really a fan of this group of competitors. Just not really doing it for me.
No, Bubba was so much better at the start of this brand split.
When he had the hardcore title run.
Yeah.
You team him up with Spike and it's just not the same. I think if you're going to split Bubba and Devon, then you have Bubba as a singles guy. What's the point of putting Bubba in a Dudley Boys tag team and it's not with Devon?
Yeah, and also Regal's like second fiddle to Nowinski. Regal's barely getting any segments.
You can see at this point why they reunite the Dudleys, because they've got Devon doing fucking nothing but jobbing at SmackDown, and they split up Bubba just to put him in a tag team with Spike.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a no-brainer here. Unless you're going to give Bubba and Devon good single careers, then, like, what is the point? You may as well have them teaming together.
No, exactly. But, Bubba Ray does get the victory here with a big Bubba bomb. There was a botch after the match. You've got the Dudley Dog. Regal doesn't break, but he sells it well. And then it's just people that know what they're doing here. See, if this was done today, I guarantee you, right, if this was today...
They've done the same move again.
Yeah, but Bubba actually just fucking... Like, actually stands up selling and then, like, fucking powerbombs and then goes back to selling.
Yeah, good. Guy that knows what he's doing.
It is. Then we go backstage, got Molly Holly and Christopher Nowinski. She thanks Christopher for saving her and says, Ring, I can do to repay it. Just say so. Then he hugs her. And then I think it was at this point he's like, yeah, I'm going to get lucky or whatever. Or was that the earlier segment? Is Victoria privy to this segment? I can't really recall, but... What's going on here? Is Christopher Nowinski and Molly Holly going to become a couple? Is William Regal going to move on from Nowinski? Because I don't think these two being together, voice break, needs William Regal. I think William Regal should be getting pushed as like an IC competitor, not with Nowinski.
Oh, I don't know what William Regal's doing at the moment. Raw's lost the European title, it's lost the hardcore title.
I would like to see...
That's just belts that Regal can compete for.
I know Coach fits into this role in a wee bit, where he's like, Bischoff's lackey, but I'd like to see Regal in there as Bischoff's lackey as well.
Could work.
Commissioner Regal. What a guy, damn it. Eric Bischoff, though, he comes down to the ring and introduces Hall of Famer Jimmy Snuka, who's got the biggest hands. You talk about Big Show's hands. I think super. This guy's hands are bigger than the state of New York, man.
Yeah, he's got massive fucking fingers. Not sure why. I guess that's why he's good at giving chops. Eric gives him the Lifetime Achievement Award. Snuka tries to talk about what his career meant to him, but Bischoff's like, nah, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up. The crowd are booing. Rosie and Jamal then jump the rail and attack Snuka, but Snuka surprisingly
gets offense in. A couple of chops to Jamal, takes Jamal off his feet. Should he really be dropping Jamal with a fucking chop though? This old fragile guy. I'm just not really buying that. Yeah, and no, it's funny. I don't know what age Snuka was here, right? But it's been about 15 to 20 years since like the guy.
But they're related, like, so he's probably wanting. I mean, they're probably
not true, but like Snuka here, right? It's like 20 years since his prime, since the 80s, right? And if you think of it, this was 21 years ago, and like, how weird is it though? This guy's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, but now there's all these guys that are still going and are fucking done, and nowhere near a Lifetime Achievement Award / Hall of Fame status. It's mental how like this guy's just not need it anymore. Like Hogan and Flair, like the only two guys for that era in 2002. Does that just show you how far wrestling's fallen though? Because there's just a failure to create new stars.
Yeah, nowadays everybody's over 40.
Like, see, as great as Hogan and Flair is, well, I mean, Flair's not that good in this run. They're not actually needed. Wrestling.
No, they're more like attractions.
Yeah, like wrestling does not need these two at this point. It's more like paying homage to them having them here.
If you look at everyone in the main event scene in wrestling today, I mean, they're either over 40 or fast approaching it.
Yeah, no, they are. But tell you what, Jimmy Snuka didn't only get beat up by his bloodline, he got beat up by Chris Jericho. And then I just don't really understand this segment. Jericho like buddies Snuka, then talks about Flair. He's like, you two guys are from the same era. Has been. Madison Square has been, which was a decent burn. And then Jericho just proceeds to sing.
Yeah, he sings New York. And
then JR's begging for a commercial. We come back from commercial, and he's still fucking singing. So what? We're led to believe that Jericho was just singing New York for 5 minutes.
Chris Jericho.
And then Jeff Hardy's music. Jeff Harvey, his music hits, and then we have a match here, but it doesn't really last that long, and he gets disqualified, Jericho, and then officials come down and break these two up. So is this going to lead to a feud?
Yeah, he refuses to break the Lion Tamer. Officials pull Jericho off Jeff Hardy. No Ric Flair. Thought Ric Flair might have made the save because Chris Jericho did say before the match he was going to take out Ric Flair's little friend Jeff.
Yeah, like where is Ric Flair?
But no Ric Flair. Then we got Terry and Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Terry asked Brock who he prefers as the number one contender. Brock says it doesn't make a difference. Just a throwaway segment. Nothing really relevant here happened. Christian and the Young Americans are backstage. Christian comments that this is wrong. It's perfect. Test says that tonight, whether they like it or not, Old Glory is going up in flames, and he's got the flag, and he's got this like fire flame thingy, flamethrower, fire
it's like a
torch, like a fire torch, something like that.
Blowtorch sort of thing.
And the commentary team is not having it. They're like, you can't do this. So
King was going to step up.
Yeah, the Un-Americans come down. They're going to light the fire, but Test about to light it. Booker T and Goldust make the save. They get taken out. Then Kane's music hit first and nothing happened. So,
which I think is just weird.
Yeah.
Why do a double carpet like that?
Then Booker T and Goldust come through the crowd and attack the Un-Americans, but 3-on-2 advantage, they got the upper hand. Test gets back in the ring with a lighter. Jerry Lawler is about to come down. He's like, I've had enough of this. I'm not going to sit here beside you, JR, and let this happen. But before Jerry can move, bang, Kane's pyro hits, and he's actually here. He comes down, takes out Test, takes out all the Un-Americans, hits his big moves, looks very impactful, looks fast. Looks like a guy that's not been at the ring for about 4 or 5 months.
He looks like he's slimmed down a bit, though. His arms weren't as big.
Yeah, he has. I think he has slimmed down a bit, and he is on fire. He takes out the Un-Americans. Booker and Goldust celebrate. Booker does a spin-a-rooney, then prevents Kane from leaving and says, what the fans really want to see is a Kane-a-rooney. And then Kane hits a Kane-a-rooney in the ring. Wasn't that good of a Kane-a-rooney, but yeah, the crowd loved it.
What I would say is, right, I don't think this segment needed Booker T and Goldust. Can Kane not come back and just batter all three of the Un-Americans at once?
Well, he did.
No, he did, but I just don't think... I know he did, but do those two really need to be out there?
No.
And I think maybe Kane helping Taker against Brock and Triple H might have been a better return for him.
I know, but he is a patriotic guy, isn't he? Or that's what they're going for.
He is Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
So, yeah, that was it. Un-Americans absolutely screwed.
Up next, end of an era, because the IC and the Hardcore title are getting unified. Hardcore rules, though. Last ever Hardcore title match on Raw. And, there was a couple of good spots with the ladder being used. And Rob Van Dam beats Tommy Dreamer. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what's Tommy Dreamer doing to the 2003 Royal Rumble? Because it's the last match I know Tommy Dreamer's in. And with the Hardcore title going, what's this guy doing? It's catering for life.
Sunday Night Heat dark matches for Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dark Dreamer for the next couple of months, I think.
It's another problem with this unification, though. Like, they're not on the same par, right? And I know you could say, well, Dreamer and Van Dam, but realistically, the Hardcore champion's not going to be beating the IC champion, because you can clearly see that in the past couple of months, they've been booking the IC championship a lot better than the Hardcore title. But
they also said that the winner of this is going to become the Intercontinental champion. So it's not even like whatever belt fucking state, like...
Whatever champion wins gets to pick or something.
They did the same thing with Jeff and RVD. They said whoever wins is going to be the new Intercontinental champion.
Tell you what, this has to be the quickest period of someone to have two unification matches.
Surely if there's a unification match, either the winning champion keeps their belt and the other belt disappears, or you unify both of them and get some sort of combined new belt. There's a combination of both of the two. It doesn't really seem like a unification match when they're like, right, okay, we're going to, no matter who wins, regardless, the IC champ's staying and the other belt's going.
Yeah.
And it's no surprise that RVD's beating both Jeff Hardy and Tommy Dreamer.
No, it's not. And he should be, and he does, but Tommy Dreamer was actually pretty tearful at this. Kind of makes you feel like it's goodbye for me, Tommy.
Yeah, him and RVD embrace. Tommy Dreamer's going up the ramp crying, but he's doing the RVD thing. But no, a really good ending to the match. RVD Tommy Dreamer gets caught up in the ladder. He then hits the running drop kick with a steel chair. Then hits a massive frog splash. I mean, lots of good moves. I just don't know why they're taking all these belts. I can understand why they don't want the European belt, because I think that is a bit overkill, having 3 belts under the world title. I mean, the IC, European, and Hardcore. But I definitely think there was room for Hardcore.
Yeah, because
why not unify the Hardcore? Why not unify the Hardcore and European?
European, right? It's just a worse version of the IC. I know it's obviously but it's European.
But Hardcore is unique.
It's a different match.
Hardcore's like a cruiserweight belt.
Yeah,
or like a women's belt. It's a completely separate division. Belts like United States, Intercontinental, European, they're all the same shite, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're just like a mid-card belt.
Now, maybe you could argue...
People can argue that IC belt's got more prestige, which it has, but they're still the same belt at the end of the day.
Maybe, though, with the Hardcore title going, maybe you'll see like more main events have a Hardcore match, potentially. because they wouldn't want to have two on the same show. But that's like the only positive I can take out of it.
Possibly. Then we get the tuxedo evening gown match. Howard Finkel and Lillian Garcia. Stacey comes out to the ring. Stacey's here to make sure Trish doesn't interfere. Howard says that Stacey is interfering with something in his trousers, which is
Howard Finkel's been the MVP the last couple of weeks.
I think Howard Finkel and King on commentary could do a good
The only
job.
thing, I can't differentiate between his normal voice and his announcing voice. Everything just sounds the same. You're interfering with something in my trousers.
The winner will be the full-time Raw ring announcer. Howard says that he likes Lillian's dress, but he fought Giuliani, barred hookers from New York City.
What a mayor.
Rudy Giuliani.
What a guy.
Recently got a mugshot taken.
Oh, he'll be there.
He'll be there.
2024.
Giuliani 24. Howard then proceeds to just constantly push Lily into the ground and tries to like pull her clothes off, and he tells her that's the way it should be. Howard then says, all you blondes deserve to be lying on your back, and Stacey doesn't like this, so Stacey and Trish jump in and they start slapping Howard, and the three women get Howard down and they take off his tuxedo. The King's not happy. He wanted to see Lillian get stripped tonight, but unfortunately he's going to have to settle for Howard.
Skid Mark Finkel, baby.
And then Skidmark runs backstage while Trish announces Lillian as the winner and hands her microphone. So Lillian Garcia is going to be the new current and permanent Raw ring announcer.
No, I don't get it though. People like buddy segments, but it's funny. It's not supposed to be a fucking wrestling clinic.
I am surprised though this hasn't got heat. Seeing a man in a ring like ripping away at a woman's clothes. I'm surprised that this hasn't been more controversial.
True, but Finkel's dead. That's probably can maybe get something to do with it.
Alright, but I'm just, with the woke culture, I'm surprised that people haven't said this is a really bad look. On national TV, you're having a man ripping away at women's clothes. I'm surprised that's not came back and people haven't made a deal out of that.
True, and half the stuff he said as well.
Well, I think we can forgive the stuff, because we've had comments like that before, but this is an actual visual. This is a thing that's happening. You can see with your eyes. I think WWE's done a lot of controversial things,
So, well, maybe that. I haven't seen any articles, but we'll never really know.
Anyway, moving on. Main event. Number one contendership. Triple H versus the dead man, The Undertaker.
Yes, it was a decent match. We've seen Triple H and Taker take each other on. The fact we've got Brock out there as well. I actually thought Taker was going to win this match. I was kind of actually a wee bit shocked that Triple H did win, but, it's Reign of Terror time. So, Triple H is going to win every match from here on out, and he's soon going to be just getting handed belts anyway.
Oh, hell yeah.
But to my knowledge, he is the number one contender, but...
Time to hold the belts.
But see, the problem is, we do have a segment after this. Triple H does win the match, puts his arm across Taker after you get hit with the face with a belt. 1, 2, 3. Triple H is number one contender. But there's a problem for Eric Bischoff. He tells Stephanie to get the hell out. He's like, yeah, my show is so historic, and he's got the number one contender on his show. But then Brock walks up to the limousine, and it turns out that Stephanie's got the champion.
Yeah, so Stephanie then says Brock has signed an exclusive contract to only be on SmackDown. Steph says the champion can choose where and when he wants to wrestle, and the amount of money that she's paying Brock Lesnar means he will only be wrestling on SmackDown. Steph then asks Eric what the heck is Triple H number one contender for, because it's not the Undisputed Championship, because she says Raw will never have another Undisputed Champion ever again, which I believe's true. She's true to her word. I don't believe we ever get that version of the belt.
I don't know if it's next week or the week after, but Bischoff literally just hands Triple H the big gold belt.
Alright, spoiler much?
Spoiler, but I know we'll probably talk about it when we get to it, but why not have a tournament but Triple H is already in the final? I actually just fucking gifted him the belt is a bit cheap to me. I don't care if he's number one contender. Just gifting him the belt.
I don't think he does Triple H any favours either, just getting the belt. It would be better if he won it. Anyway, that was it then. Eric Bischoff's just standing there looking shocked. And Brock Lesnar has now fucked Eric Bischoff twice.
And he has. And Earl Hebner, after the show, actually chased Triple H up the ramp with a chair. Thoughts on that?
You gotta love Earl Hebner, don't you?
The greatest feud. This feud's been going for about 4 years.
So I mean, look at Airhead. I mean, the rest back in the day all had personalities and
Fucking names and storylines.
Like, look at the refs union and all that shit. See now, it's just generic ref number 1, generic ref number 2. Oh, we need to represent. We need to make sure we've got a male. We need to make sure we have a female. We need a black male. We need a black female. We need a Mexican. We need a white guy. It's like, what the fuck? It's just...
Well, I don't need a white guy. I think I've scrapped that idea.
I know, but it's just basically, everyone needs to represent. We need to make sure every culture and every race and every gender, even though there's only 2, I don't know if Triple H agrees with that, but they need to make sure that every single line is covered. And it's like, I mean, come on.
I know, but...
See, but I'm surprised they don't complain. Oh, look at back in the day. It was only old white men that were referees. Well, what about Theodore Long?
Player.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, I'm going to give this show a 6 out of 10. It was good, but definitely a decrease in quality from what Raw has been. And I've got a feeling SmackDown's going to surpass it this week. It should.
I'll also get a 6. I don't think... I mean, you know what? Does it deserve a 7, actually? I'm actually going to get a 7. A 7 because...
Reading it sounded better than what actually happened.
Because I like the opener and the main event, plus the Howard Finkel, Lillian Garcia stuff I found really fun. I enjoyed the Tommy Dreamer RVD match. And I thought it was great seeing Kane's return, taking care of the Un-Americans, and then seeing a Kane Rooney. That was pretty special as well. So, yeah, no, overall, I thought it was... I'd say the middle of the show kind of lost me a wee bit.
Yeah, there was a large period in there that just went a bit...
Yeah, there was
because like there wasn't a good
Bischoff stuff.
Normally you've got like wee segments in between that like hype up the main event, but there was none.
There's probably like a 25 half an hour period I thought were not really a lot happened.
Yeah, but anyway guys, 6.5 out of 10. Up next we have got SmackDown. Brock is exclusively on SmackDown. Will Taker... Well, I mean, Taker goes to... I'm actually intrigued now how will Taker end up in SmackDown. I've actually no idea.
No idea, but we'll find out.
Till then, peace.